when I think of you, Janice, I think recklessness. you,
Oh,
you really
yeah.
got to reel it in. You are out of control.
I'm the queen of reckless. I have not one, but 2 safety vests in my closet for when I go walking.
Gotta pick out a few. Grab a smick or a clue. The trolls are out in full force. Guess it's par for the course. Should look at DMs. Rather stab my eyes with a pen. Oh, please let this one be bright. It's no use. My mentions are all full of shite.
Hello, Holy Comments listeners. Did you know that you can get an extended and unedited version of this episode on Patreon? It includes 2 to 4 more comment reviews than you'll hear in this episode. Hit the link in the description to watch that. Janice Selby has also just released her new book, Divorcing Religion, a memoir and survival handbook. This is a must-read if you've left religion. Find the link to this book in the description. Hello, and welcome to Holy Comments. This is Judgment Day for Holy Trolls. It is a reckoning for the righteous and a sentencing for the sanctimonious. This is the podcast where we review the many, many unhinged comments that we get as atheist women on the internet. And this is my lovely co-host, Janice Selby. Hello, Janice. How are you?
Hello. I'm very well, thank you. I'm looking forward to possibly getting a smick today.
Yeah, we need to really start building up those smicks. I think we're probably going to start implementing soon a running smick counter so we can see how far we've come, how close we are to getting 1 million smicks and having a clue. All right. So is there anything new going on that you want to talk about, Janice?
Well, I'm still riding high about the release of my book, Divorcing Religion, a memoir and survival handbook. Still doing nicely, hanging around in the charts, and I think it's helping people. I'm hearing from people who are saying they're very glad they read it. So I'm working on my launch party I'm going to do soon. That's what's going on for me.
Cool. Well, I wanted to just mention that we do have a few patrons over on Patreon watching our extended and uncensored version of this in video format. Of course, if you do go over there and join our other patrons to watch that, you're going to get a few extra comments each episode. So at the same time we post this on YouTube or Facebook, you're going to get a much longer episode on Patreon, and you get to hear all the curse words. So if you want to do that, the link is down below, and also get Janice's book at the link down below as well.
Thank you very much.
Fun things to go do on the internet right now. Anyways, shall we get started with the first comment?
If your left hand is on fire, why should your right hand care? True God shouldn't be forced on anyone. Just like love in a relationship can't be forced, love of God is a choice. But ignoring him invites suffering, addiction, depression, and slavery by default.
There's a lot to unpack in that comment.
Yes, this is interesting.
My right hand definitely would care if my left hand was on fire. I'm just going to say right off the bat, there would definitely be caring and movement.
Yes. Yes, out of instinct. And like I was immediately thought, my right hand doesn't have a brain, so it can't really technically care about anything. So maybe perhaps he's true. But the brain that both hands share would care.
Yes, and of course this is they're taking this idea from the verse in the Bible that talks about if you're giving money to help somebody or you're doing something helpful, do it secretly. Your right hand shouldn't know what your left hand is doing. So it's a very strange place for them to use that reference.
I don't know. I don't really understand it. True God shouldn't be forced on anyone. I definitely agree on that.
What about false God?
False God should also not be forced on anybody. God, in general, in any way, shape, or form. I mean, all gods are false.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
hate to break it to our listeners, but all gods are false. So, yeah.
Yeah, love of God is a choice. That's true. But you know what's not true? Ignoring him invites suffering, addiction, depression, and slavery by default. It's obvious that someone who has been thoroughly indoctrinated has and really buys into this notion that you can't live a good life without God. But as an atheist, I know that I am good without God, and I have a pretty good life too.
Yeah. And I am the same. I've lived my whole entire life as an atheist. And, I wasn't drinking when I was 4. Um,
That's good.
in fact, I don't drink now. So, but I don't have depression. I get low sometimes, but everybody does. And slavery not happening at my house. Let's just put that out there. But if that is true, let's just for a second pretend that that's true. Ignoring him invites suffering, addiction, and depression and slavery by default. Publish your findings. Like, why keep this to yourself? Why would you not want the scientific world to know about this? Why wouldn't you be publishing these findings? I don't really understand why they never do. They never seem to publish these crazy, insane findings that they tout they have. So,
And in fact, I would say it's easy to take the last part of this last sentence here, and I can apply it to people that I know who are believers. They suffered these things while and as a result of believing. They were suffering because they believed that they could never be holy enough. They were addicted to the concept of God and Christianity and confession. They were very depressed because they felt they were never good enough. And then they were slaves to this repetitive thinking that took place. It's a real grind when someone is kind of stuck in that mentality.
and it's funny because it's not funny, but as a figure of speech, the people who I've connected with on the internet, because as you know, I've always been an atheist, and I have learned so much from people who used to be religious and have left their religion. And the number one thing that I've learned is that the depression that almost all of them experienced as a believer was nearly completely alleviated when they left the church, when they left their religion. So, I mean, anecdotal, yes, not a scientific statistic that I'm offering you right now, but I'm just telling you that this is in clear contradiction to what this person is saying. So,
I agree. I concur.
I'm going to give this maybe 2 smicks, just because he said a couple of things there that I agreed with. 2 smicks. How about you?
Whoa. I think you're being very generous. I will give this 1.
I'm eager to get a clue.
That's right. Oh, hey, look at, did you see my earrings?
Oh, very pretty.
Yeah,
Nice.
they're like the atheist idea. I mean, it's the atom symbol. I wish I had the A in there, but
I could probably make that out of resin.
probably. Mhm.
All right. That was a good start. That was a different one.
Mhm.
Not the same old, same old.
That's true.
Should we go on to comment number 2?
Let's do it.
Satan, your inspiration? Shameless sexuality? How'd you get so reckless, ma'am?
Oh, yes, I do believe this one was directed at me. I remember it actually on my Facebook, I believe, because shameless sexuality, life after purity culture is one of my conferences. It's the conference I'm holding in this coming May in Seattle.
Tickets below.
That's right. Get your tickets. I thought it was really interesting. Satan, your inspiration. Why? Because the only way you can have shameless sex is if you're inspired by Satan. I feel like religious people are scared of sexuality. They're scared of enjoying sex. Yes.
Absolutely. I just howled when I saw Reckless because, when I think of you, Janice, I think recklessness. You
Oh,
really
yeah.
gotta reel it in. You are out of control.
I'm the queen of reckless. You should. I have not one, but two safety vests in my closet for when I go walking with my partner. I make us both wear safety vests. So reckless is like not exactly how I would
Yeah.
describe myself, but yeah, I thought that was interesting. How you get so reckless, ma'am? Because that person really thinks I've gone off the deep end. Oh boy.
Yeah, I drive when it's snowing, like it's pretty snowy out here. And when it's like that, when it's slippery outside, I drive my car to town to walk my dog around because it's flat. That's how reckless I am.
I like being careful.
And I didn't have a single alcoholic drink during the entire holidays, so color me reckless. Yeah, shameless sexuality. They do not all of them. Obviously, there's plenty of progressive Christians out there who are not like this, but the ones who tend to find our pages are. They like to be I don't know, they're so repressed sexually that I think that what happens is that they see people who are not repressed sexually and who are happy to celebrate sexuality and they don't feel shame about it in any way. And they look at those people and they feel jealousy, I think, a little bit of jealousy because it's nice to live so freely and to be okay with who you are sexually. And I mean, I can't even imagine feeling shame about it.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yes. Well, I have heard people say, and I do think there's truth to this, repression leads to obsession, especially when it comes to sexuality. And so this is something that's really, the United States is really trying to push their very right wing religious agenda right now. They're even blocking porn access for people in some of the southern states. Like they're still going to find it. There's still going to be a way for them to get it. But yeah, repression leads to obsession.
All those politicians who are banning it are looking at porn. All of
Yes.
them. Every
Yeah.
single one.
Probably.
They're all hypocrites. They're just, in my opinion, that's more about control. And, I think having a consumer base that is constantly afraid is good for capitalism. People spend money when they're afraid, as we witnessed at the beginning of the pandemic.
Spent all their money on toilet paper.
Yeah. What was that about? But you know what? If you have to be inspired by Satan to feel shameless sexuality, then I kind of like Satan better than God at this point. So score 1 for the devil.
A big fat one.
The size doesn't matter. Okay. Speaking of size, how many smicks do you want to give this one?
I think I would give this one 1.5. I thought it was amusing.
Yeah. I'm going to go with 1 on this one because just give effort. I like the first one because there was a little bit of effort. At least they typed more than 12 letters. It is time now for the Council of Prayers. So, for those of you tuning in for the first time, the Council of Prayers, not to be confused with Council of Prayers, Prayers is a council of people we've put together, we've compiled, who are praying for us. And of course, we are also trying to measure the results of that effort. Has anything gone right for you in the past few weeks, Janice?
This morning I was trying to pull on my shoe and it has this wonderful little loop at the back of it, my running shoe. And first the loop broke. So then I said a bad word. And then I was outside. I was driving to get to my mom's place. She's in her 80s. I was supposed to help her with her taxes. Oh my God, I'm the wrong person to help anyone with their taxes. And so we sat there for a couple of hours and really didn't make much headway because neither of us was totally understanding all the tax jargon. So I got to say, if anyone's praying for me, pray harder, please, because so far it's not working.
Yeah, I'm feeling a little under the weather today, and I'm also feeling the effects of these council members not really doing their job. They're not doing what they told us they would. But there's good news on the horizon. We have a new inductee today, and that might make things better. Do we want to hear from this inductee?
Absolutely.
Poor you. You look sad, angry, and in desperate need of attention. Jesus can save you, but if you don't want him, that's on you. I'll pray for you.
That's why you're feeling sick. Ill pray for you.
He'll pray for you. There you go.
Wow.
Oh my
Wow.
goodness. You know what's funny though is this comment was posted on one of my holy comments shorts, and it's in those I am almost 100% of the time highly amused. I'm smiling and I'm being silly, and there's silly music, and I'm often laughing. So I don't know what this person thinks sad, angry, and desperate, in desperate need of attention looks like. But as an introvert, I have to say that last part is definitely not true. I'm okay being in a room by myself.
If I'm picturing someone who looks sad, angry, and desperate for attention, I'm picturing Matt Gaetz. You don't look anything like Matt
Yes.
Gaetz.
The saddest, angriest, and in desperate need of attention people who fit that bill are often the people who are leaving these comments. So I don't feel sad. I don't feel angry. I do feel a little under the weather though. So get those prayers in, get them going. We appreciate you joining the council.
And send money. Send money. I mean,
Yes.
prayers
Oh, yeah.
are okay, but God's not going to hear your prayers unless you're really stuffing that envelope full of wads of bills.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And you can't buy a throat coat without a few bucks. So send flu med money, please. All right. Well, thank you very much to actually the username on this one was the left is stupid. So
Oh, come on.
yeah, the left
Do
is
better.
stupid. Is that I'm wondering if that's a throwback to the first comment.
Was it STOOPID? Like stupid.
I know. Well, we appreciate all of your efforts, Council of Prayers, but do better. Send more money. Thank you.
Ooh, look at all those prayers.
I know. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 members of our council. So
Lucky
things are gonna start getting better. Yeah.
We'll see.
All right, we ready for the next comment?
Mm-hmm.
I hope your children die before you.
Oh my God. That is terrible.
John, did you pick this out of my folder?
I think so, yeah.
Oh yeah, this one was from towards me then.
Did I pick a bad one?
No. Well, yeah, I mean it's a bad one, but you did good. I was just wondering if it was one of mine or one of Janice's.
It may have been directed to me.
Either way, what kind of very unhappy, unhinged person would make such a comment? I wouldn't say this to my worst enemy. It's a very unhealthy, unkind, unhinged comment.
Yes, and I would have to say also that if your faith permits this, then the world is better off without your faith because this is kind of gross and I don't know, you know, what moral high ground you could possibly stand on at this point after saying such a hideous and disgusting thing. So,
Yes, if this was from a religious person, it is safe to say that they need a faith lift.
yeah, it is likely from a religious person. Most of the comments like this are, sadly. And I mean, what do you have against my kids? Like, be mad at me. What do you even know about my kids? Like,
I don't even think we should spend too much time on this one.
yeah,
It's just so awful. And I mean, it's like there's an ominous sound and just very it's sad. It's sad. I'm giving it a thumbs down.
yeah,
I don't like it.
yeah. What's the lowest? 0.5. Let's give it the 0.5 treatment and just
Mhm.
deal with the fact that it's going to take us longer to get a clue.
Yes, let us flush it.
Yeah, be gone. All right, ready for the next one.
I don't see anything bad about being in a cult. Every religion has some cultist elements, and I'm not afraid to admit that as Christian.
Yes, I recognize this comment. And and when the person said this to me, and I'm reading it thinking, I don't see anything bad about being in a cult, I was like, well, then no one can help you. First of all, the first step to solving the problem is recognizing that there's a problem. And this person doesn't think there's a problem, and they admit that they're a Christian and that there are cultic elements, cultists, they said, elements in Christianity, and they're right. It is culty.
Yeah, it's true. But yeah, as far as saying out loud in public, I don't see anything wrong about bad about being in a cult. You know what I think? I think this sounds like somebody who has recently come to the realization that their religion might be a little bit culty and is now making excuses for that. That's what it kind of comes off like. And if I were a betting person, I would bet that this person might end up an atheist in the next year or so.
We can only hope.
Yeah, I think it sounds like it's just cracking a little bit, you know? Cuz people who are just about to I've had a few in my career as Godless Mom. I've had a few people who, they'll leave comments like this on my content and then a few months later they're messaging me in private saying I left my church and you were a big help in that or whatever. And it's oft it just sounds like this. There's something about this that tells me that it's the facade is cracking and they're seeing through it, you know?
That is very possible. The other idea is that they don't really know anything about cults and the damage that cults cause and create for people. So I would say it's one of those two, and probably leaning more towards your idea that there's some cracks showing up, and they're trying to spackle over the cracks
Yeah.
as best they can, but
Yeah.
it's not going to work.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with being in a cult. That's their latest apologetic, and of course there is. We like to think for ourselves. It's a good thing. So people like this, you just got to wait because I think eventually they do.
Find their way. Yeah.
And then they look back on these comments and they cringe. All right, how many smicks do you want to give this person?
I'll give this one 1.0.
Okay, I'm going to join you on that one. It's a one smicker. It's not super thought provoking, but maybe there's a little hope in there. So definitely not worth 0.5. A little more than 0.5. Shall we check out the next comment?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't curse much in general. Definitely not around my or any kids. It's lazy and often rude. There is almost always a more creative and suitable adjective than constantly using the F word. I don't get people's love of cursing. Oh well, to each their own.
Did they say this after you were cursing?
I mean, am I ever not? I actually am. Let's just face it. And the reason why is not because I'm lazy or being rude. It's because I'm a writer and I like words that add a little punch. And it certainly does. It adds a little punch, and there's nothing lazy about it. I don't know how you could possibly reason that in your head that it's lazy to opt for the word fuck over the word make love. Like, obviously they're two different things, but it's just, I don't know. I've never really understood this. Like, be upset about the words that carry a lot of weight, that carry the weight of history behind them, slurs and derogatory words towards groups of people. Be upset about that. That's fine. But as far as just cuss words, which if you're not directing it at somebody and you're using it to just add a little punch to your sentence, it's not a big deal. And honestly, I don't even care if you say it around kids. And I said it around my kids, and they turned out, actually, they don't swear, either of them. So
they heard enough of it. Well, this morning when I broke part of my shoe, certainly even before I even thought anything, my favorite expletive flew out of my mouth. JFC, which is not Jesus fried chicken or Janice's fried chicken. That's just my go-to. That's just what comes out when I'm ready. It doesn't matter if someone cuts me off in traffic or if I drop something. That's the one that comes out of my mouth. But when I'm working with my clients who have religious trauma, and we're talking about the F word, the F word we're talking about is actually forgiveness, because forgiveness is so often weaponized by religious predators. So that when we're talking about a bad F word, forgiveness can be a lot more problematic than fuck.
yeah, there's a lot of words out there that are a lot more problematic than fuck. And I don't know. I love it. I love swearing. I think it's there's obviously situations where I wouldn't, like, I'm not going to give a talk to a bunch of clients and start swearing in the middle of that. And I taught that to my kids. I said to my kids, you can swear if you want to, but I just want you to know that if you do it at school or if you do it in this setting or that setting, you're probably going to get in trouble from other people, because other people don't seem to understand that this is literally just an arbitrary arrangement of letters, and they're just choosing to get upset about it for no apparent reason. And I don't really understand it. I understand when it comes to slurs. I understand why those are upsetting.
Yeah.
But when there's nothing personal about the word fuck, and I don't understand why people choose to get upset about it. And honestly, sometimes that makes me want to say it even more.
It can be very cathartic.
Yeah.
And that's actually something when I'm working with people who have come out of highly restrictive religious backgrounds, this can partly be an element of growth. It's like when they have their first drink of alcohol, when they said their first curse word, when they've, watched porn or something like that, ethical porn, just kind of some firsts that mark that they are taking hold of their own autonomy, which they didn't have before. So I'm a fan of swearing. I don't swear around my mother, who's 85, because I choose not to, because she's of a generation where ladies didn't use such language. But sorry, my kids have heard it all coming out of my mouth.
My mom taught me to swear.
She's
We
liberated.
often swear together. And now, and you were saying, like, when you stub your toe that you say JFC. Well, I often, like, it is a point for me to find new things to say every time. And it's always quite colorful and funny. Often it involves buckets and monkeys and stuff like that. And like, just, I'll yell the weirdest things when I stub my toe or hurt myself, which is often. So the family gets a lot of entertainment from me.
We need to make up some T-shirts and some mugs with your favorite swear words on them. That would be very funny.
There was actually There was a period of time when I was working at the airport where I was kind of going through this phase of finding new things to say. Jesus Christ on a cracker, Jesus Christ on a popsicle stick, Jesus Christ on a bicycle or something like that. Just like as like if I stubbed my toe, I'd be like, Jesus Christ on a cracker, you know? And I was going through this phase and I found like hundreds of these and they were funny to me. I don't know if they really were to other people, but they were to me. And I had this friend that I used to hang out with, and we had never talked religion ever, but he had like tattoos and piercings and he listened to like heavy metal and punk rock and stuff like that. So, and literally everybody in my life up until that point had been non-religious outside of a few handful of Buddhists that I knew. But one night we were having a Kubrick marathon, and I went to go get a new beer out of the fridge, and I kicked the couch and I said, for the love of Jesus Christ on something, and he got so mad at me. Yeah, he was like, I'm a Catholic and blah 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 blah, and I was like, oh dear, I felt so bad. I didn't know.
And this was an adult.
Yeah, this was an adult. Yeah. And it wasn't the first, like I had been saying these things for a while. It was like that was the last straw for him. So it wasn't like he just flipped on the first time I said it. And I did feel bad and I apologize. So
oh my God. I think my favorite one that I ever heard, because I thought it was so creative, baby Jesus in a race car. Baby Jesus in a race car.
Did you ever, what was that show? What was that movie? The Ricky Bobby movie with Will Ferrell.
It's like, thank you, Oprah. Thank you, Jesus. Thanks, everybody. Yeah. That show was so funny.
Yeah. All right. How did we even get on this topic? Oh, right. Cursing is so rude. Well, I don't know why you're on my page then. I mean, just hit unsubscribe and boot it, because I ain't changing. So I think I'll give this one a 2 smicks because it was so fresh and different.
You know what? I like where you're going with that. I'm going to do 1.5 because I like the conversation that developed out of it.
Yeah.
Baby does in a race car.
That's going to be the name of this episode.
Yeah.
Baby Jesus in a race car. Okay. We got it. Well, we didn't really rack up the smicks today, but smidgen closer to getting a clue.
One day
it'll happen. We'll be old in our wheelchairs at the nursing home playing canasta. We'll finally get a clue.
We'll be cursing every time we lose. We'll be cursing.
The Council of Prayers. Okay, Janice, tell everybody where they can find you.
Ooh, they can find me most places as Divorcing Religion, and on Facebook, it's Divorcing Religion Workshop. And they can go to shamelesssexuality.org, as in orgasm. That is where they can find out all about my conference coming up in Seattle. And also, of course, my own website is Divorcing Religion, and my book is Divorcing Religion, a Memoir and Survival Handbook. Those are all about me.
And all the links that you need are down in the description, so you can find her book, her website, and everything. And also follow me on my various spaces. And also check out the Patreon for an extended and uncensored version of this podcast episode on Patreon. And we will see you next time. Thanks for watching.
Bye, everyone.